What's up, everybody? Nicholas Kuzmich here from nicholaskuzmich.com, and in this training, we are going to cover the perfect lead magnet. Now, why is this important? Because A, if you follow me, you realize one very important thing about me, and I believe that Facebook is one of the best tools out there that exists when it comes to getting great eyeballs to generate leads, right? In other words, to extend a friendly hand and say, hey, I don't know you yet, but let's build a little bit of a relationship before I ask you to buy anything from me. So the point here is Facebook is a great tool to be able to extend that hand, to generate a lead, to put that lead into your system, and then have the system short, medium, and long term develop a relationship so those who are ready to buy now can buy now, those who are ready to buy later can buy later, and those who are ready not to buy for a long time, if ever, can still get great value. But of course, this is all contingent. In fact, the quality and the quantity of your lead at a cost that you are happy with is contingent upon how good of a lead magnet that you have. The better the lead magnet, the more specific it is to your ideal prospect, the better you're going to get high quality leads, low cost leads, and leads that are essentially pre-framed to want to do business with you. Now, before we begin, I've got my latest training bundle available for you. If you just go to nicstraining.com, NICS-training.com, what type or what format should this lead magnet take? Because there are so many people offering all sorts of different kinds of lead magnets, and they're wondering, why is my cost so high? Or why doesn't my conversions come in the way I'd like? Or why aren't these people buying? So let's look at what I call the lead magnet desirability matrix, right? Because I think all lead magnets can fit into this matrix. And based on that, we're going to make some decisions on what type of lead magnets we want. So in this matrix, I believe there's high desire and low desire, and stuff that is easy to consume, and stuff that is hard to consume. Okay, so let's start placing what we'd call traditional lead magnets into this matrix so we can get an idea of the ones that we should be thinking about using to deploy into our marketplace. Now, if we were to go back, let's call it 5, even 10 years, and I said, what is the number one lead magnet that used to be offered to the marketplace in order to generate a lead? You'd most likely come up with ebook. And I put ebook under easy to consume technically, but low desire. I mean, I don't know about you, but when was the last time you downloaded an ebook and actually consumed it, right? I mean, ebooks at one time were high desirability, right? Everybody kind of wanted it and it was cool, but now we kind of have a hard drive full of ebooks that are collecting digital dust, and we haven't even consumed it. In fact, if I were to ask how many people have downloaded an ebook, a lot of hands would go up. And of that percentage, if I asked how many of you actually consumed the entirety of that ebook, most of the hands would go down. In fact, I bet some of you have even written an ebook that you haven't even read your own ebook, right? So the point is, it's easy to consume, sure, but the desirability of the marketplace right now, again, we transact with two currencies, time and money, time being more valuable than money. And so when we're asking someone to take a bunch of time to consume a product of ours before interacting with us, it's probably not going to work. So we're going to put ebook into the easy and low. Now, if we look at hard and low, so low desire and hard to consume, I would put some sort of a call in here, right? In the high ticket world, some people call that a strategy session. In like the professional services world, you might call this a free consultation. So maybe I'll just put that as well. Consult. But the point is, these do not work as great lead magnets, because the moment somebody hears, hey, I'm going to give you a free strategy session, right? Or I'm going to give you a free consult, what are they actually hearing in their mind? Think about it. I know every time I hear that, I'm thinking sales call, right? That person is about to sell me. So it's not to say that we can't have these or we shouldn't have these as part of our overall sales process. What I'm saying is it's a terrible lead magnet. It's a terrible first way to extend your hand and say, hey, let's have a conversation, right? And yet I see ads all the time of people like, hey, free strategy session, jump on a call with me so we can build out a plan for you, which really means I'm going to try to sell you my product or my service. So again, essential for the sales process, yes, needed or a good lead magnet. Probably not. Now, let's move up into high desire but hard to consume. Now, this is different in different marketplaces, but what I would put here is a webinar or a video series, right? Now, I see people doing this all the time, and it's not all that bad, right? If you have a webinar or video series. Now, my personal take is that webinars make great conversion mechanisms. They're great for selling things, but not always, or the 4-part video series for that matter, but as a lead magnet, as an initial buy-in, again, because remember, we transact with two currencies, time and money, and a webinar essentially is asking someone, hey, give me 30, 50, 90 minutes of your time, and most people are like, I don't have that time to give. I've got my kids, I've got this, I've got that, I've got all this other stuff to take care of. I can't give you that much of my time. And frankly, if you've run a webinar, or even if I were to flip it on you, how many people listening to this have registered for a webinar and attended every single webinar you've ever registered for? The answer is most likely not, right? In fact, how many of you have conducted a webinar and you've seen 500 people register for the webinar, and then when it comes time to go live, there's like 90 people in the room, right? It's case in point. It's not that people are rude. It's not that people don't care. It's just that the reality is life gets in the way, and it's hard to consume, right? So the idea is, are these part of our sales process? Yeah, I don't see why not. But do they make great lead magnets? I don't think so, right? A 4-part video series is difficult to consume. It's spread out over multiple days and it takes multiple effort, or even a webinar, right? So we keep them in the process. We just don't use them necessarily as lead magnets, which then brings us to, as it currently states in most industries right now, high desire and easy to consume. For the lack of a better word, I'm just going to call this a PDF download. Now, you might be asking, what's the difference between a PDF download and an ebook? I'll tell you that in just a second. But right now, if you could be thinking 1 to 3 pages max, executionable type information or content that someone can take, download it, use it, consume it, deploy it, get a result in a snap, then we are off to the races. So here's kind of the case in point that I'd like to say with this. We want to give people things that they can download and utilize in a snap, right? Then the idea is to bring them, we're gonna call this the trap, right? People feel like it's a trap, kind of. We're gonna call this the gap. So the idea is we give people stuff that they can download, implement, use, consume in a snap, which will maybe eventually, hopefully get them to the trap, right? And if that doesn't work, we fill it with the gap. And the point here is, we always avoid the crap, right? So I'm going to make a suggestion to you here that when you're thinking about what is, and by the way, you're welcome, right? The fact that you don't have to write an ebook, or if you already do, you're probably sitting on 5, 10, 15 lead magnets hidden in there, right? So the point then is, think about your ideal prospect and think about how can we give them a 1 to 3 page downloadable, executionable piece of content that they can deploy. Now, along those lines, you may have heard me say this before, but I believe that every lead magnet should be SAGE, right? SAGE. I'll go over this acronym real quick. So when you're thinking about creating these lead magnets and what you're going to do with them, you should always keep this in mind, right? S stands for short, right? Again, time is such a valuable commodity that people aren't willing to give up so much anymore. And if that's the case, we want something that people can download and use and implement and read in a snap, right? Maybe 1 to 4 minute consumption time. If they could just download it, use it, start deploying it, we're off to the races, right? A stands for, let's call it action-oriented. What I mean by that is people are not looking for information anymore, right? That's the difference between information and insight. If your PDF download is just information, you're competing with the greatest information engine in the world, which is the Googles, right? Nobody wants just information. What they want is insight. And the difference between information and insight is simply insight is what to do with key pieces of information in order to get a desirable outcome, right? So if your lead magnet has actual action-oriented items, stuff that people can do right away, not just consume, but actually execute on, you'll be way off to the races, right? G stands for goal-oriented. In other words, let's look at it this way. Your prospect is on a journey, right? And they're going from A to Z. The point of your lead magnet should essentially help them go, watch this, one step forward. Right? I've seen so many people create these lead magnets that are like this entire long process that's trying to get someone from A to Z. Look, it's too much. It's too hectic. People get all confused. There's too many steps in the process and they fall off the bandwagon, right? But if it's goal-oriented and you help someone go from point A to B or B to C or C to D, one step closer, you're going to be well on your way to building loyalty and trust and credibility and authority with that individual. In fact, think about this, right? I believe that there's 3 reasons why people don't transact with us. One is they don't trust us, and that's a whole nother conversation, right? Secondly, though, is that they don't trust themselves. I mean, how many people have gone towards a desired outcome, let's call it weight loss, and they've tried this and this and this and this and this and this, and they've let themselves down because every time they've tried it, they failed. They tried it, they failed. They tried it, they failed. And so now they're thinking maybe your solution is great, but maybe they won't follow through on it, so they don't trust themselves. Now, if you have a lead magnet that gets them one step closer, what does that do? That builds trust in themselves. They say, wow, I've gotten a result. In fact, one of the greatest marketing tactics in the world is to provide results in advance, to give before you ask. And this is a great way to do that. So make sure that your lead magnets are goal-oriented. And then lastly, easy. We live in this weird kind of world where people think the more complicated something is, the more intelligent it seems. But the reality is the simpler it is, the better off we are. Right? The simpler someone can execute. If you said to someone, hey, if you want to lose weight, here's what you got to do. You got to get an airplane. You got to fly to the Himalayas. You got to, traverse a mountain. On the top of that mountain, there'll be a tree. And on that tree, on the 4th branch of the 3rd trunk, there's going to be a lemon. You got to get that lemon, bring it to the shaman, have him cut it in a certain, you get where I'm going with this, right? There's no way anyone's going to do all that. But if you're like, hey, go to your local grocery store, get a lemon, cut it in half, squeeze it into cold water in the morning and sip it down. And that's going to help get your metabolism going and kind of boost some of your gastric juices. Again, I'm not a doctor, nor do I pretend to be one on the internet, but you get what I mean. The easier it is, the better off they are. So here's what you need to be thinking about right now for your lead magnet. By the way, if you like this style of training, right, I'm giving away my latest training bundle at a pay what you want kind of offer. So NICStraining.com, NICS training.com. Just go there. It's going to give you all the details of my latest training bundle that's going to help you get even better results with your Facebook ads. And right now you can name your own price above a minimum suggested bid, and you can kind of get going with some training if you like stuff like this, right? So the case in point here is if you're doing lead generation, if you're not doing lead generation on Facebook, you should be, number 1. Number 2, if you are doing lead generation and you want to get better quality leads and you want to get higher volume leads at a better cost, think about avoiding all these other forms of lead magnets and focus on the PDF download. And then make sure that your PDF download is SAGE, short, actionable or action-oriented, goal-oriented without stretching that person too far, but getting them one step closer to the goal, and very easy to consume, very easy to implement, because when they do and they get a result, most prospects ask the best question that any business owner could want to hear, and that is, thank you, what's next? And if you can provide that for them, you're well on your way to building a great, loyal foundation of leads of people who will transact with you either now or not now, but at some point. Right? So if you found this training helpful, again, I've got this training bundle that you can go get at NICStraining.com. Pay what you want, name your own price above a minimum suggested bid. I think there'll be some great value for you over there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I look forward to helping you further. I look forward to helping you get better results with your Facebook ad campaigns, and I can't wait to hear about your results when you start running the perfect lead magnet. I think you'll get some great results that way. All the best, and we'll talk again, and we'll see you real soon. Talk then.